So this is an example of a dashboard, okay? And the dashboard is generally made up of your filter bar up here, which you can configure, but I can now do, you know, dates, devices, projects, however you segment your environment. And I've got this dump truck here selected by default. I can see an overview of this truck with some key information relating to it, right? I can actually view a bind. You can turn this on or off. This is all configurable, point and click configurable. But you know, you can show a more of a verbose view of it. I can see the activity for this truck, how many data points. I can go down and see some KPIs for this, some time series information. And because this is a truck that moves, I can see it on a map as well. So each of these widgets, if I go back to edit mode, each of these widgets have been positioned here by someone just clicking and using this. So I have a number of visualizations here that come out of the box, right? Time series charts, asset tables, time series raw data tables, KPIs, asset details, the map, and asset counter. These are very common things that people want to use. If you ever have a requirement for another type of widget, like let's say there's some particular visualization that these just aren't quite showing you, you can add new widget types that will show up in this list. And then you can drag and drop them just like the ones we have here by default. So you can actually extend this widget list yourself. Now, the task to create a new widget type, to extend your list of widgets, that's a development task. You would need someone who knows how to write a UI widget, and we have documentation for that and examples. But the task to use the widget, that's a once-off task, a non-recurring once-off task to create that new widget. But once it's created, the task to use it and drag and drop it is the exact same experience as the out-of-the-box ones. It's a no-code exercise. Great. So I'm going to show you now the experience. I'm going to add a widget, and you can just see get a sense of what it will look like. So I'm going to go down to the bottom of this page, and I'll just drag. Here's a time series KPI. I'm going to put it in there, and I've got a time. And now straight away it brings me into edit mode. So this is what edit is. It's a very simple KPI. By default, it's not configured. Okay, but if I go down here, I'm saying query. So I know what my metric is. So let's say I'm going to go for engine dot temperature. Say, okay, that's a metric I know is on that truck. I just happen to know it's on that truck, right? And it gives me a preview immediately, okay? Because this is selected, 2 hours, this device, now I'm saying temperature. Now I can see a time series KPI of the temperature, and I can see the average in the last 2 hours is 98.95, okay? I've got an average. I can do a max. Max is 100. I can do a min. We have all these aggregators out of the box, right? First, last, max, count, you know, how many data points have come in, you know. So let's stick with average, right? So these are the type of things you shouldn't be writing code for, right? Let's do another bit of simple configuration. I'm going to the units. So over here now I'm going into the visualization. So let's say it's degrees Celsius. Okay, that's fine. Probably not degrees Celsius. I don't know if maybe it's Fahrenheit, but this is. And then I can go down here and I can start to style it. So I'm saying thumbs up. Purple is the default. I'll add a threshold and I'll say 99 is red. Okay, and I'll give that a thumbs down. And you got all these different fav icons. And I think if you know, see the material design icon library, you know, if it's not there by default, you can go and grab an icon, and there's nice little things like that to make it. But now I've added a threshold, which basically says if it goes over 99, it's going to go red and give me a thumbs down. If it's below 99, it's going to be purple. So if I say average is 98.95, I'm just below 99. But imagine I go to max, and I'm going to go with that, right? So now I'm getting a sense. Okay, this is how this widget's going to behave once I put it on the page. But I'll go back to average, and I will just go save visualization, right? So I'm going up here in the top right. I can do a lot more here with adding different visualization filters and things, but maybe I'll show you a bit of that later. I'm going to save that visualization, and now there it is. I have a new widget on my page there, okay? And that's going to behave, like I said, if that goes over 99, it's going to go red, okay? But let me show you. So that's one simple widget. If I go into other ones, like here's the asset overview widget, and I can click here and go into edit mode on this. I can duplicate it, copy and paste the same widget, so I don't have to do, you know, if you have lots of widgets that are similar, but I'll go to edit. So again, I'm getting a different edit experience because there's different things to be edited. I'm always getting my preview, but if I look here down here, I'm saying, okay, what attributes do I want to iterate through on this panel? Okay, so I want to see UUID. Okay, fair enough. I want to see the time this asset was created. I want to see the make of it, the registration, and that's what creates these things. And I can continue on adding more attributes, and it'll continue listing them. I can also go over here, show images, so I can turn on and off the image. If you can add images and binary files to any entity in Davra, to devices, to twins, and this by default, this asset widget's going to show the images, but I can go to activity spark line. So some of these things by default, like this activity spark line, maybe I want to turn that off or on, or then I go to view asset objects. This is the very verbose thing. I can turn that on or off, and those things get added. I can do formatting rules and attribute order. Yeah, formatting rules is like if you're iterating through these things, but something goes wrong. Like let's say that you show a value that's, you know, if it's greater than a certain value, you want it to actually show up as red. You know, you can actually have a formatting rule there. I'm going to cancel this because this is a pre-created thing, so I don't want to override. I'm just going to go into another couple. The time series chart, maybe. So very common thing you'll want to do. I'm going to go into edit and just show you again. We have our own edit view here, and I can go in and put in multiple queries. So see query 1, and then I scroll down and I see query 2. So that's what gives me 2 series here. I've got 2 lines on this chart: max temperature and vibration. So query 1 is giving me temperature. And you can see how the aggregator is a maximum temperature. And I've got bucket sizes and things like that. See, regular bucket sizes. This helps you as well if your customer is going to select a month of data versus a day of data. We're like aggregating the stats into meaningful buckets for them. So you create your queries here, and that's what's going to drive the data. And then again, you go over to your right-hand side here, and you can set some kind of styling things like the y-axis position, the scale is linear or logarithmic, if it's stacked or not. These are all things that you'll want to do when you're just configuring your line charts. The query styling, like what color the line is, if it's a line or a bar or scatter, how it's filled. And you can style each query individually. So you can see, for example, query 1, which is the purple, is a line. I can go down to query 2 and say that the result of that's going to be a bar, right? So it's going to have a y-axis, and the y-axis on the right. So you can see vibration over here and temperature over here. You can give it its labels, and it's linear, not logarithmic again. And then finally, there's a query order thing as well. Every widget that comes with a really nice edit, right? And when you add your own custom widgets, you give it a view, but you also give it the edit, and the edit's a template based off that. So that's how you create dashboards in the back end in the base platform. Now, something I want to show you just really briefly, it's a really nice thing that we have with these dashboards is this is an application that a customer would use. So they're using TLS's IoT platform, right? There's no Davra here, right? But doesn't this look familiar? This is a dashboard, right? And they have a little filter bar here to switch from water, heat to water to cooling, right? Different types of meters they have out in the field, right? In big map view. And then they have this, which is the data panels. Does that look familiar? They're bubbling up the dashboards that they want the customer to see into the customer specific application so that the customer doesn't need to get access to the Davra based platform. Okay. And in this case, this user actually can create new dashboards. You don't need to do that. You can turn that off. So you can see how the dashboard builder can complement other things that are kind of structural to your application. So some things your customer will be able to change, some things your customer won't be able to change.